Hello again, Lockpicking Paul here, and this is going to be a slightly different take on picking a lock. The reason for that is this is a Thirard Cobra axial, and it's been quite the battle. This is not the original front end to this video. The reason for that is I picked this lock, and I was only ever going to pick it to one position, and I picked it open. And I was just showing the camera, me turning the core, and I flipped it too far and it clicked into the first position. And as with all sort of pump locks, each position relocks the lock. And I thought, oh, screw it. I will pick this thing 360. What you can see in the keyway is that little pin that's sticking out. That's the interactive pin. That's gone round. I've now picked it 6 times to take it all the way around, and I am just about to relock it in its original position so I can get the key to work again. So hopefully I'm not going to fluff this. I can just turn the core and you'll see it all relock. I hope. Don't fluff it, Paul. There you go. It's now back in its position, and the interactive pin is now at the bottom of the lock. What makes this lock so tricky? Right, it has 5 sliders, or pins if you like. They've all got false gates. I think I counted 4 false gates per pin. That's 20 false gates, plus an interactive pin, which is the pin at the bottom. And this is the key. Quite a cool key. I'll show you the interactive element on the key. Spring loaded. Now, once you've got the sliders picked, and they're not the most clear to pick sliders, that pin will at some point bind, and you just click it down. It is absolutely not straightforward. It will overset. The false gates are relatively easy to tell from the true gate. The true gate has quite a bit more movement than the false gates in this, so that's at least one thing in the favour of picking it. But you've still got to contend with a lot of false gates. You've got oversets, and also the pins, I think, are tapered. And if they're not actually tapered, then they behave like tapers. So you can have everything what you picked to the depth that you think it should be. You've got core movement, but nothing's happening, and you've just got to go around and tap the pins until eventually it'll pop and the lock will turn. So it's really quite an interesting lock. So what you're about to see is the actual picking video. It's one of the faster attempts I did at picking the lock. I've picked it a lot now, and having done a 360 in this, I think in reality you wouldn't want to do that in a door. Now I think what Tapered showed on his video is he used a piece of silicone tube, so when it's picked you slot the tube down the keyway. That sort of expands and compresses against the pins, which holds them in place, and then he demonstrated turning the core, which is a pretty effective way of turning it. Whether or not that would give you enough torque to turn the cam and drive a mechanism in a door, I don't know. I think the silicone might slip. But in terms of demonstrating not having to pick this thing to 6 positions, which is a complete pain in the backside, it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, up next is the picking video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been quite the battle, and I can see why this thing is a brown belt lock. It earns every step of that. All right, back in a mo. Cheers. Oh, one extra thing. I didn't talk about tensioning this thing. Tensioning it is really rather difficult. It does add to your woes when you're trying to pick it. There's not much you can tension off of here. There is, however, a hole behind the interactive pin. So I've made this. So one piece of 1.2mm stainless spring wire. You notice it's got a sort of strange bend on the end of it. What you do is you push this into the lock behind the interactive pin, and there's a hole, and it just sits in that hole, and you can hold the pin up like that and just push the metal bar against one of the sort of flat sides inside the lock, and you can wobble it about if you need to. It doesn't need much tension at all, this lock. That's the other thing I didn't mention. It's literally enough tension to press a key on a keyboard, and that's all it needs. And it doesn't, the tension doesn't change. It's super, super light. You start off with even just moderate tension and everything just seizes right up and you can't set a pin. So yeah, tricky lock to pick and actually to tension. So there you go. That's the tool if you get one of these, and I thoroughly recommend it. They're jolly good fun. Now I've got the thing back unlocked again, or back in its proper position again. Anyway, that's enough of your time wasted. I'm going to go on to the picking video. All right, see you in a mo. Right, I apologise for the very strange angle, but it's very awkward to film this, and should switch that to manual focus. Multi and then manual. Okay, see if we can get this tricky little sucker picked. So check for a binding pin, very, very light tension. Right, let's give two false gates. That's 3. 5, 4 false gates. 5th position. Give that tension a bit more. But it does like to drop pins. Got to check every time. Whoa. Check that pin. Right, still not set. Okay, so yeah, that one and that one both got 4 false gates before you get the pin set. Let's check this one. That's still good. That's still good. Right, that's in, I think. Right, where's the interactive? That does not appear to be binding yet. What's not in a gate? They all feel like they're in gates. Ah, now it's binding. There we go. I felt the core give a bit. Pin 1 is binding again. And there we go, we're open. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to push it all the way around because it'll relock. And no one wants that. But I will show that that is picked. Right, blimey, tricky, tricky, tricky. Let's see if I can do this with this. That's how this works. Is that focused? Let's change it to multi. Right, so it should be focused. If you look down the keyway, you can see the interactive is no longer aligned with the bottom. I'm just going to swing this core back. That way, if it does relock, it'll relock in the first position. Come on, focus. Focus, focus. So we can get that to go into... Right, I'll stick that in manual. It should stay there now. Just trying to show the cord turning. Ah, hell. I have locked that now in open position, so I'm going to have to try and pick that. I've never picked that back open again, but anyway, it was picked. Now it's relocked, but in one position round, so I need to unpick that. But anyway, there you go, the hazards of doing tricky little pump locks through a camera lens. All right. I'll put a little footnote when I do post a video about picking it back. Anyway, that is it for this evening. I hope you enjoyed that, and I think I enjoyed it, assuming I can get this unlocked again. All right, cheers.